G'day guys, we're up in the bee yard today. We've got a little nucleus colony in this top bar hive here, and we're going to have to do a bit of problem solving today because I want to put it into a Langstroth box. And triangular comb from the top bar, square box Langstroth, doesn't go, does it? Let's go and have a look at what we've got to do, see how we're going to make this work. So this is essentially our problem. The Langstroth box is a rectangle. This is a deep box and this is a deep frame. These are designed to fit into these boxes. This is a follower board from one of my top bar hives, and the combs you'll find in those are exactly the same shape as this. So I'm going to be taking combs that are this size and shape and trying to put them in a box that shape. So as you can see, they're not nearly wide enough and they're too deep. So there's no way that that's going to fit into this box. So what I've essentially got, I've got some just top bars from these Langstroth frames that I'm going to screw onto the top of my top bars. That'll allow me to actually sit them in and they'll sit properly. But then we're going to have to cut the combs from the top bar just so that they'll have the right depth so that they'll fit into these boxes. Now that's a pretty brutal process. I mean, there's going to be brood and things on these, so you're going to lose some brood when you cut them. It's not ideal, but it's really the only way that I've got that I can transfer a nucleus colony from a top bar, which is where I started, was all top bars, over into these Langstroth boxes. I've done one over there, but I'd like to get a second one going just for a bit of redundancy. And once I've got two colonies going, if I then want to expand into more Langstroth, I'll just do splits from Langstroth to Langstroth. It's a lot easier and there's no, there's no cutting of combs and stuff. But now I think there's probably, I haven't been into that nucleus colony for a couple of weeks, but I think there's probably 4 bars of comb. So to bring 4 bars of comb over to this box, you're going to be cutting 4 lots of brood, which is probably more than I'd like to. So I'm going to try and limit it to bringing 2 bars of comb over, and the other bars, they can get reintegrated into the other colonies. But we'll go and have a look, because there are certain things that we need to make sure that we've got on those bars of comb to ensure that this will be a success. So we'll go and we'll have a look and we'll try and choose the 2 bars, and I'll explain what I'm doing once I'm in there. Righto, well, we've got to start this video again because some idiot forgot to press record on the GoPro. But anyway. Yeah, so what I was saying was we want to take 2 bars for the Langstroth. We want to take some that's got room for the queen to lay in, because she needs somewhere to lay to keep the brood process going. The best way we can do that is to take a bar that has capped brood on it, because that means that it's going to be hatching out fairly soon, and then they can clean those cells out and she will lay in the empty cells. This one here is the only bar that really has a lot of capped brood on it. One thing I have noticed going through this colony is that there's not much honey stores, and food stores are what we're going to need to take across as well. Because of the fact that we're only moving this a short distance, the foragers are going to probably come back to this original location, so that colony won't have the foragers to bring a lot of food in, so we need to take some with. But this colony doesn't have a lot, so I'm going to probably have to raid a bar from one of the other colonies that has honey and pollen stored on it. I've caught the queen. She's in a single-handed queen catcher down in here, so she will come across. Now we'll take this bar over. I've screwed the top piece on. This is just the top piece off a Langstroth bar, so that'll allow me to drop that in. But what I need to do is, if you line these up, you'll see where they will sit in the box. So I'll have to cut this comb off along that line at the bottom. And that bit, if there's a bit of brood on there, I can salvage that with a rescue bar. There's not much on this one, so it might not be worth bothering about. Now we know we don't have the queen, so there's nothing too much to worry about as far as damaging the queen. I'll just mark that. And then I'll try not to damage. Try and do as little damage as I can. I mean, it's a brutal process, it really is, but we'll still try and minimise the damage that we do. Alright, so that should just pop straight into the Langstroth box. We'll go and have a look. Beautiful. In it goes. So we've got one bar in there. I might throw some of these bars back in. We don't need to have them all out. I'll just sit the lid back on like that just to keep a bit of heat out of there. Keep the sun out. The other thing we will take from this colony is all of the bees. We'll take them over, we'll shake them into the box. The queen will be over there, so all these bees should stay. So I'll take the queen over now. It's my single-handed queen catcher. I did try and show the queen earlier on, but like a muppet I didn't turn the camera on. She's cruising around in there. The worker bees can fit in and out of those slots, but she can't, so she's in there. The other thing that we've got to hope doesn't happen in this situation is that the bloody queen flies off. But hopefully I'll sit her in there. We'll bring some of these bees over and shake them in. Hopefully they'll smell the queen in there and they'll stay with her. So a lot of these will be nurse bees, so they will stay in that box. They haven't been out foraging yet, so they have no idea of their actual location. And then as they get older, they will graduate to being forager bees, and they will go out and forage, and then they will orient themselves to that new location and they'll just go back. I'll just pop that cover on again. Right. So we'll just open, I'll turn you around, hopefully you can still see what's going on. So all we really need is a bar with some resources on it. Absolutely massive amount of brood in this. Nearly right the way through it is just brood. It's crazy. Actually, that was one that was shortened. You see how short that bar is? That's one that I had in a Langstroth box. So if it was suitable, I would take that because I have to do less damage to it, and it's got quite a bit of brood on it. I may take that one as a third bar, maybe. Well, this one feels like a heavy one. There's a lot of honey on this one. Yeah, there's a lot of honey on that one. Geez, that's heavy. There's plenty of nectar, not a lot of honey. Sorry, plenty of nectar and honey, not a lot of pollen. It might say something about what's going on with the flowering around here at the moment. I don't know if you can see, but there's bees hatching on this one, so that would be good because there'll be places for the queen to lay straight away. There's nectar on the bar. I might take that one over anyway, just because it has got some good brood on it and some good brood and some nectar on it. so that one can go over. Put the lid back on. I think I'll reassemble this box and we'll have a look in the green box and see if we can get a bar with some pollen on it. So basically I just reassemble this as it was. I'll put one empty one there, and then whatever was left over in this nucleus colony can just get put back into the main colony, and those nurse bees will look after the brood and they'll hatch the brood out, and then we can do whatever we want. We can pull those bars out then if we want to. Or there's quite a lot of bees on that one again, so we'll just... Shit, I need 3 hands here. Yeah, well that wasn't very good, was it? Yeah, I'm lucky I don't have angry bees anymore, eh? Rough as guts, and they're still quiet. That's cool as. Never used to be like that. Well, actually they did used to be, and then they went feral. So they're all closed up. There is quite a few bees still in here. I'm hoping they will find their way around the front of this box and just jump in with the main part of this colony. The other thing I could do, maybe, yeah, I will. I'm probably going to ask for this, probably asking for trouble, but I'll just open the whole box up so that all the foragers that are going to come back to this entrance, they'll just have access into the main hive. I'll do that for a week or so and then I'll shut it all up, I think. I don't know if this is a smart idea or not. Might be the stupidest thing I've ever done. Because I'm essentially giving them a whole heap of room to do whatever the hell they want with. Get a proper bar and put in there. Righto, that should be alright. So I've essentially just given them the entire hive so they can access it from both entrances. That way the foragers from that other hive will sort of end up back in this hive, and they'll be accepted by them and they won't just needlessly die. Right, but we need a bar. We need a bar with some resources, food resources on it. So this is the hive that used to be cranky, so hopefully no more, because I ain't dressed up. There's quite a lot of honey in this one already. And beetles, I'll have to deal with them at some point. There's honey and pollen on that bar. Not a lot, but there's some. Yeah, there's quite a lot of pollen on that bar and quite a lot of honey. So I think I'll take that one as my food stores. All these cells over here, they all have pollen stored in them. This is honey. These ones here are empty. And I'm going to end up cutting it off down here anyway, so we won't waste a hell of a lot. There'll be a little bit of pollen in there, which I can throw back into one of these hives anyway. And the bees will soon raid that. So we'll go back over here and I'll mark it up. We know that's going to be like that. Try and waste as little as we can. The other problem I just realised on this bar, you've seen that some of my bars I use a vertical dowel on, and it is actually just a little bit too long to go into those Langstroth boxes. So I need to just, unfortunately, snap that off, which won't make a lot of difference in the overall scheme of things, but yeah, I'll just go and screw this top piece on, and we'll take it over to the Lang box. In that one goes. So we've essentially got 3 bars in here now that have hatching brood, so there'll be space for her to lay, there's honey, there's pollen, and we have the queen. So we essentially have everything that we need for them to do okay. I'm going to reach down in here and grab my queen catcher. Oh, little bee, come on. Now I'll open that up and hopefully she will just go straight back onto the comb. Pretty sure. I can't see her, but I'm pretty sure she went straight back onto that comb. Right. And we'll just push these up together if we can. Sort of how they would have been back in the other boxes. And put whatever frames we can back in here. Now it's a bit of a juggling act now to try and get them to build correctly on these Langstroth frames. I could use some foundation, small strip of wax foundation, and to get them to build straight, but I'm stubborn. I want to do it without using that stuff, and I'm probably going to pay for it in the end. Because it's difficult to get the right spacing so that the bees feel that the bars are in the right spot for them to build on. I've managed to get that other one starting to build their first bit of comb in the correct place. So it's not impossible, just a bit painful. But once they build them out, it should be a lot easier then. Once I get 2 or 3 bars built out, or frames built out I should say, it should be a lot easier then. But just getting them started building in the right place is a bit of a hassle. So I was just going to bring you along and show you how I was going to put those top bar combs into the Langstroth box, but you've ended up following me on most of the inspection anyway. There's a lot of pollen and honey on that one. This colony's doing really well again by the look of it. The other colonies don't have a lot of pollen, which is a bit concerning, but there must be pollen around because these guys have it stored up. Yeah, so as you'd probably remember, this was the really super aggressive colony from a while ago. And get a load of them now. I'm hardly even using any smoke. And I've just got my veil on, t-shirt and shorts. Mate, they are relaxed as. A lot of nectar on that one. A lot of nectar. Yeah, so this is the difference that your genetics make, and this is why people requeen when the colonies go feral. I mean, the difference in temperament is just crazy. I mean, I don't have any particular need to have bees that are this quiet. I'm not close enough to anybody that my bees are going to worry too many people, but those other ones were pretty extreme. I much prefer these. I can do whatever I want in here. It's pretty cool. And it just makes seeing what you're doing so much simpler without 10,000 bees in your face trying to kill you. And there's the queen cruising around. It's a nice sized queen by the look of it. Very cool. A lot of brood. Maybe they just have that much brood that they're just consuming the pollen as quickly as they can bring it in. I don't know why they would have so much brood if there was no pollen, because they really rely on that pollen source to feed the little baby bees. That's a necessary component of the of raising the baby bees. So if they weren't bringing pollen in, generally they wouldn't be raising a lot of young. So maybe they're just burning through it, because they have a ridiculous amount of brood in both these colonies, which again they usually only do if there's a good nectar flow on. If the nectar flow or the pollen's not there to feed the colony, then they're not just going to lay eggs everywhere and hatch babies that they can't feed. They're a lot smarter than people in that respect. Shouldn't say that, should I? But anyway, they're all looking really good. Yeah, really happy with how all they are. The only thing that does concern me, like I said, was the lack of pollen, but that may not be as much of an issue as what I think it is. So anyway, that was only going to be a quick one, but I just brought you along for the rest of the inspection anyway, since we were pretty much done. So yeah, it ended up being not too bad. We didn't have to cut too many bits of comb off. We didn't lose too much brood. I know when I did the first one, I lost a fair. The brood was right to the bottom of the top bar comb, so that was a bit rough. But this one wasn't too bad. And like I said, now I've got 2 laying colonies. I won't be doing this anymore because it's pretty rough. It's pretty harsh. Yeah, a lot easier if I can just take a frame from one laying and put it in another laying, and that's the way I'll do my splits going forward. Yeah, the first one's doing really well. Yeah, everything's going pretty good. And quiet bees. How cool is that? Happy with that. Alright, thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.